Ever wondered how two superpowers armed with nuclear weapons managed to avoid direct confrontation for over 4 decades? Let's delve into the ideological divide that set the stage for this global tension. Picture this: the United States and the Soviet Union, two nations on top of the world, yet miles apart ideologically. The United States, a beacon of capitalism and democracy, where freedom and individual rights were paramount. On the other side, the Soviet Union, a stronghold of communism where state control and collective good were the orders of the day. These stark differences in values and governance were not just theoretical, they manifested in the physical world. Enter the concept of the Iron Curtain, a metaphorical boundary that segregated Europe into two distinct blocks: the democratic Western Bloc led by the United States and the communist Eastern Bloc under the Soviet Union's influence. In essence, the world was divided, not by geography but by ideology. In this climate of tension and fear, the two superpowers engaged in a race not just for military supremacy but for scientific dominance. The arms race, a chilling contest of nuclear proliferation, saw the United States and the Soviet Union amassing vast arsenals of weapons of mass destruction. The doctrine of mutual assured destruction, or MAD as it was grimly known, held the world in a paradoxical balance. Each side knew that launching an attack would guarantee their own annihilation in return, creating a deterrent effect that was as terrifying as it was effective. But this race wasn't confined to the battlefields of Earth. High above our heads, another competition was unfolding. The space race was not just a matter of national pride. It was a demonstration of scientific prowess, of technological superiority. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, into orbit in 1957, it sent a clear signal to the world: we are ahead. But the United States was not to be outdone. Less than 12 years later, they landed the first man on the moon, claiming a victory for the free world. These races for supremacy pushed humanity to the brink of destruction and also to the edge of space. While a direct conflict was averted, the war played out in other parts of the world. As the Cold War escalated, the United States and the Soviet Union sought to spread their influence globally, leading to a series of proxy wars. These were conflicts that saw the two superpowers supporting opposing sides but without engaging in a direct confrontation. One of the most significant proxy wars was the Korean War, which started in 1950 and lasted for 3 years. This war saw the Soviet-backed North Korea and the US-backed South Korea fighting for control over the Korean peninsula. The end result was a stalemate, with the peninsula still divided today. Another significant proxy war was the Vietnam War, which started in 1955 and lasted for 2 decades. The Soviet-backed North Vietnam and the US-backed South Vietnam fought for control, with the North ultimately emerging victorious. As the 1980s rolled in, the tide began to turn. The Soviet Union was facing economic difficulties and the desire for freedom and democracy was growing in Eastern Europe. This culminated in the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, an event that symbolized the end of the Cold War. This concrete barrier, which had divided East and West Berlin for nearly 3 decades, came down amid celebrations and tears of joy. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 marked the beginning of the end for the Cold War. The Cold War ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in December of 1991 marked the end of the Cold War. This wasn't a dramatic, explosive conclusion. Rather, it was a quiet, gradual process that unfolded over years. The mighty USSR that once stood as America's greatest adversary crumbled from within, succumbing to economic and political pressures. And yet the Cold War left an indelible legacy on the world stage. Today, tensions between the United States and Russia, while not as overt, still simmer beneath the surface. The nuclear arms issue, a dangerous relic of the Cold War, remains unresolved, as nations grapple with the question of disarmament and nuclear non-proliferation. In many ways, the world is still dealing with the aftershocks of this monumental period in history. The Cold War may have ended, but its echoes can still be heard in the world today,